good afternoon and welcome to Midday Live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda in Accra. My name is Efua Tifu. The details this afternoon. NDC aspiring presidential candidate confirms secret meeting of 5 other candidates to stop former President Mahama from being elected to lead the party in 2020. Also coming up, workers of La Palm Royal Beach Hotel in Accra up in arms against management for failing to pay SNET contributions. Coming up on business, government announces producer price for cocoa for the 2018-2019 crop season. And volunteers begin burying victims of the Indonesian earthquake in mass graves, over 800 killed, with 1,600 rendered homeless. These and more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us. Now let's begin on a security note, and the Tema police has gunned down 2 robbers and arrested 2 in shootout at the Tema industrial area. The alleged robbers stormed a UT warehouse on a robbery spree. According to the police, they had a tip-off that robbers had besieged the UT warehouse. Upon arrival, the police engaged them in a shootout, which led to the killing of 2. 2 were later arrested by the police. Tema Regional Police Public Relations Officer ASP Joseph Benefodakwa said the 2 would help the police with investigations. Former President John Dramani Mahama has chastised the Akufo-Addo government for failing to deliver on their numerous promises. He was addressing NDC delegates at Asingfosu in the Asin North constituency in the Central Region.
The former president touched on the current economic situation and increased petroleum prices.
Samre na petrol ya 14 cities. 14 cities. Petrol na 14 cities. Abra you to the and the petrol they say.
He said the MPP had lied their way to power and are now unable to deliver on their promises.
What to meet them at the G to me. And so what's me fan and truck made and that and from poor man. And yet
the former president urged the party supporters to vote the NDC back to power to continue with its good works.
Now, former President John Mahama has also been speaking about the free senior high school policy on his campaign tour of the Central Region. President Mahama says an NDC government will take another look at the free SHS policy and review it if necessary. This has attracted reaction from the president, who said a review as called by the NDC could mean a scrapping of the policy. Now let's now speak with the member of the campaign team, that's James Ejenin Boateng, who joins me on the phone lines. Good afternoon to you, James.
Hello, good afternoon.
Right, so what did the former president mean when he said he will review the free SHS policy?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. His Excellency, the former president, was addressing delegates in the Cape Coast North constituency, specifically at the WAEC Hall last week, when he touched on the free SHS policy. You know, he's been campaigning to be mandated by delegates of the NDC so that he will be flag bearer for the 2020 election. Starting on the free SHS policy, Mr. Mahama spoke about the record investment that he made while in government in the area of education, particularly secondary school education. And he highlighted that there were 3 planks to the secondary school education policy: widening access, improving quality, and making it affordable. At that point, he pointed out that he's been observing what's been going on with the rollout of free secondary high school, the free SHS program, and is being fought with problems. That's a statement of fact. It's being fought with problems, and that there's been calls on the government to call a stakeholders review conference, so that the program can be looked at again to strengthen it. But government is not paying heed to that call. Then he says that, and I'm quoting him with your permission, I believe that if Ghanaians come together, we can come out with a workable timetable and for implementing free SHS. At that point, he followed it up by saying that when he emerges winner of the 2020 elections, as part of his commitment to deepening the program, he will call a stakeholders review conference, to review the program so that it can be strengthened. Because our former president, John Dramani Mahama, he believes that the Ghanaian student should be as competitive as students from anywhere on this continent.
Does the former president have any issue with the policy itself or the way it's been managed?
Well, the question is whether or not Ghanaians, and you in particular, are satisfied with how the policy is being rolled out. You do know that from last June that the BECE students completed their exams. There are some of them who've been at home up until now, 4 or 5 months on. They are expected to go to school sometime in November. That makes it a total of 5 months sitting at home. While we speak, there are people who we are told are on a 40-day program in the secondary school. The question is whether or not this is the best way to roll out education for the Ghanaian youth.
Thank you very much, James. I'm afraid we may have to end the interview here, but thank you for your time this afternoon. We've been speaking with James Boateng, who is a member of the former president's campaign team. Now, let's still stay with politics. And the National Democratic Congress presidential hopeful Guzitano has confirmed taking part in a secret meeting in which 4 other presidential hopefuls participated. In an interview with host of morning show Sunrise, Winston Amwa, Guzitano denied it was a conspiracy to unite against the former president John Dramani Mahama.
Sources say 5 individuals who have declared their intentions to lead the National Democratic Congress in the 2020 elections were in a secret meeting. It is not clear when the secret meeting took place and where or the motivation for the meeting. Although the number of presidential hopefuls who participated in the said meeting is not in doubt, it is not clear the specific names who made it to the meeting. Confirming the said meeting on 3FM's morning show Sunrise, presidential aspirant Guzitano denied it was to conspire against the former president.
It's a clearinghouse to ensure that the election is clean, no abuse, no attacks, no intimidation, and so on, and also to look at some of the proposed constitutional amendments and so on and so forth coming to the Congress. There's no conspiracy about that. Any conspiracy would not be taking pictures. That's it.
Information indicates that the 5 presidential hopefuls are thinking of presenting one candidate to prevent the former president from being elected to lead the party.
Are you plotting to make sure he doesn't?
No, but what kind of question are you asking? I'm a candidate.
No, I said, are you people plotting?
I'm a candidate. Can I be in favor of Mahama?
No, hold on. So that's you personally, but are you 5 plotting to make sure Mahama doesn't win so that one of you wins? That's what the story says.
Well, the story is misconceived. What we're trying to do is to ensure, 1, that there is a level playing field. 2, that the campaign is conducted in a cordial and civil manner. 3, that there may be pertinent issues relating to the upcoming Congress that we must all address. The constitution of the committees, the constitutional amendments that have been proposed, and so on and so forth. Look, in politics, people engage each other, throw up ideas. I understand, for instance, the Mahama camp has promised vice presidential candidate to about 9 different people. That's that's the rumor I've heard. All right?
Including you?
No, I don't think he'll ever offer it to me.
In 1999, Guzitano broke away from the ruling NDC, citing issues of corruption. He founded the National Reform Party, NRP, and ran the following year on the NRP ticket. He returned to NDC with his colleagues in the Reform Party at the behest and upon several appeals made by the late President John Atta Mills in 2008.
Now let's move away from politics into some issues of business. Now, more than 50 workers of La Palm Royal Beach Hotel in Accra picketed this morning to demand the immediate removal of their managing director, Abena Pokia Boaite Amoa. The workers allegedly accused the managing director for refusing to pay their SNIT contributions for 7 months and failing to implement their collective bargaining agreement.
The workers are affiliated to their mother union, the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU. They converged at the premises of the hotel to protest what they described as unfair labor practice by the managing director. They again explained that for the past 6 months, the managing director, Abena Pokia Amoa, has failed to pay their dues to the mother union. The disgruntled workers are upset that the MD has been displaying her political colors affecting the working environment.
She has the guts to tell the workers here and all over that she was brought down by the president and that she was here to serve the interests of the president, and therefore nobody can cajole or intimidate her. That led to my visit to this place. Coming to meet her, it took me 2 hours before meeting her. She gave a forum, we listened to her matter. Thereafter, she said she was going to give another 4 mandates. That date never came. I gave her a phone call. She said she was on some errands with the president, and when the errands with the president is over, before she will have time and listen to industrial relations issues.
The workers added the MD has failed to implement the collective bargaining agreement and has engaged in wanton transfers of union leaders.
6 solid months, she has refused to pay the union dues, both the national and the local. As if that is not sufficient, our SNIT second tier, from March up to date, nothing has been paid. As if that is not enough, negotiations that have been concluded and MOU have been drawn. She was supposed to implement the MOU. She thrown the MOU aside, and she's saying that she will do her own implementation from this October.
General Secretary of ICU, Solomon Kote, who led the picketing, promised to pursue the matter at the presidency.
We want it to be on record that the National Union is not willing and ready to work with any square peg to be put in round hole. We want the presidency also to know that the people they are appointing into authorities, they must have respect for Ghanaians. They must have respect for the people they work with. We are not leaving any stone unturned. We are moving from here to get to the state DGG and then move on also to see what the Chief of Staff will say about this matter.
He said effort to convene a meeting with the MD has been unsuccessful. The managing director, Abena Pokia Amoa, is yet to respond to the concerns of the workers.
Let's now look into issues of the special prosecutor, because President Akufo-Addo has assured government will fix the special prosecutor's problems. This follows complaints by the special prosecutor that his office is not functioning due to inadequate resources. The president, who was speaking at a meeting with Ghanaians in the United States, said very soon the office of the special prosecutor will be functional. He said the office is dear to the heart of Ghanaians and every effort will be made to resource Martin Amidu and his team. We are joined on the phone lines by Vitus Azim, who is an anti-corruption campaigner. Good afternoon to you, Vitus. Good afternoon to you, Vitus.
Good afternoon.
Right, thanks for joining us. Now, how assuring is the president's assurance that he will resource the office of the special prosecutor?
The line is not good, Kra.
Well,
can you repeat?
I'm asking if you are convinced with the president's statement that he will resource the office of the special prosecutor.
Well, it's been a long process, and until we see the action, I'm a bit doubtful about those promises. We've had several promises from politicians, but when it comes to actually delivering, there are always some problems. So until we see the action, I cannot say I'm convinced.
Well, so should the president have waited for Mr. Amidi to come out in the manner in which he did to make that promise?
Well, it was necessary for him to come out and say that so that the rest of us, the media, the civil society, and citizens in general can put pressure on the government to actually act on what is supposed to be done. Because if he keeps the problems to himself, Ghanaians will not know, and the politicians may be suppressing it. So I think what he did was in order to help put more pressure on the government.
Right. He also mentioned that he doesn't have the LI legislative instrument to work with. Some have said he can actually work without that. Is it possible?
I think that without LI, there will be some limitations, but that doesn't mean he cannot actually do his work. The LI normally elaborates further on the act. And so where it comes to maybe interpretation and certain actions, there might be some limitation on him. But that it doesn't prevent him from actually acting. We have a number of laws that do not have LIs. The Access Declaration Law, which was passed in 1998, still doesn't have an LI. The Public Financial Administration Act, Financial Management Act, which was passed in 2016, does not yet have an LI. But it's being implemented. So he can do it, although there will be some limitations on how far he can go.
Right, thank you very much. Vitus Azin is an anti-corruption campaigner. Now, first-year students placed on the double-track system in Mion Senior High Schools in the Mion district of the Northern Region are facing serious academic problems. First-year students have been put together with second-year students in the same classroom and restudying second-year curricula. However, a completed community senior high is standing unoccupied in the same school, but the contractor has refused to hand over its keys because government owes him money. Eva Atiboka has this report.
Students are already struggling with space. Second cycle education started last year in Myong district. 200 students were placed in a 4-room structure at Sang. Already, the 4 classrooms are crowded with 50 students studying in each room. This year, 500 first-year students have been placed in the school under the double-track system. The new students are studying same subjects in same classroom with the second-year students.
This is Form 2A, and here we have Form 1s and Form 2s mixed together. This afternoon the subject is economics and the topic is economic systems, but basics of economics being learned here. On the board we only have the definition of economics, which of course the year 2s shouldn't be learning.
Economic system is the continuation of the year 2 syllabus, but we have SS1s who have just reported. We are doing this to let them be fully engaged.
A few of the first-year students have reported, but there is no space for them.
Where to put them is a big problem. So those who have reported, we have asked them to sit among the Form 2 students according to their programs.
Being a day school, most students come from far away places and would have to look for accommodation within the community. Meanwhile, a community day school built to accommodate the students is already completed but remains closed.
Authorities that have been consulted and they have been told by higher authorities that things are in place in the next few days.
Few days when? How soon?
How soon, I cannot tell, if I'm to be honest with you.
But this block is fully completed to take care of the 400 to 500 students we are expecting under the single track system. What we need now is for the contractor to come back to site quickly and hand over the block for academic work to start.
District officials, parents and students want central government to intervene as soon as possible to open up the school for use.
And it's now time for NTN video report for today, and our citizen journalist John Paul Agbeviade reports on the poor state of the 40-year-old Totibo DA Basic School block in the Sojaman district of the Eastern Region.
We are currently in Totibo DA Basic School, a school located in the Eastern Region of Ghana, to be precise, in the Sojaman district, in a village near Akosombo. The block we are seeing now represents primary 4, 5, and 6. This noble school is 40 years old now, and this has been the state of the classroom blocks. Here we are in the GSS. Here is GSS 1, GHS 2, and GHS 3. Government, NGOs, and all who have interest in assisting us to put up a good infrastructure for this school.
John, thank you very much for that report. Now, you can also send your video report to our WhatsApp platform 055-1433-044. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. We'll be back shortly after this break with business. Welcome back. Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited has offered a 6-month contract to the staff of all the 5 collapsed local banks. During the period, staff will receive individual contracts stating the bank's terms and conditions during the probationary period. There's more in the following report.
During this period, the bank said it will continue to assess its business needs and to take action to rationalize staff count as required to fit the operations module. CBG was formed on August 1, 2018 after assuming the branches and staff of Unibank, the Beige Bank, Royal Bank, Sovereign Bank and the Construction Bank. CBG said they had to extend the 2-month probationary contract to each staff after the fusion of the banks to ensure business continuity. During the 2-month period, management of CBG said they commenced processes to determine the future business operating module, identify staff with the right skills and competencies to execute the business module and the logistics involved in right-sizing the branch network. Management has therefore decided to give all staff of CBG who participated and successfully passed the initial assessment by Ernst & Young a 6-month probationary contract of employment on the approved CBG salary scale with effect from October 1, 2018. They will each receive individual contracts stating the bank's terms and conditions during the probationary period. The notice added that this period will give staff the opportunity to showcase their skills and competencies and to give management the opportunity to fully assess and determine each staff's suitability and fit for a role in CBG.
The Ghana Airport Company Limited is to move all domestic airlines to the Kotoka International Airport Terminal 2. This follows a successful transfer of all the international airlines from the Terminal 2 area to the new Terminal 3 facility.
Managing Director of the Ghana Airport Company Limited, John Atefua, said Terminal 2 of the Kotoka International Airport will be refurbished to accommodate domestic airlines. All domestic flights are expected to operate from Terminal 2 by October 31.
As operators and managers of airports in Ghana, Ghana Airports Company Limited will continue to provide you with the needed support for smooth facilitation at all our airports. We hope you will in turn provide excellent customer service to your customers so that together we can make the traveling experience a pleasant one. Very soon, domestic flights will be moving to this terminal since we've moved all international traffic to Terminal 3. And we hope this will make the domestic traveler feel even more comfortable.
Now let's look at some agricultural stories, and we understand government is expected to announce the producer price for cocoa for the 2018-2019 crop season. And joining me on the phone line is my colleague Nuong Falong, who is at the event. Nuong, good afternoon to you. Has the price been announced? Hello, Nuong. No, has the price been announced for the 2018-2019 season for cocoa? Oh, we seem to have lost Nuong Falong on the line, who is at an event for government to announce the 2018-2019 producer price for cocoa. for the crop season. Nuong has joined us back on the line. Good afternoon to you, Nuong.
Good afternoon.
Has the prize been announced yet?
Hello?
Yes, has the prize been announced?
Not yet. The prize has not yet been announced. The program was delayed because of the rain. So far, we've only had the Greater Accra Regional Minister who has spoken about the flooding of the market by international chocolate brands, and he's pushing for more local participation in the market. We also have the president of the Cocoa, Coffee and Shea Nut Farmers Association. They have been complaining mainly about the destruction of cocoa farms by Galamsey, and they are calling on government to push forward more with the effort Operation Vanguard to protect the lands from Galamsey. Presently, we have the chief executive who has just started speaking, hoping that he will announce the prize, but so far, nobody has announced the prize yet.
Oh, thank you very much. We will try and get back to you as and when we have that information. Now, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, Yofi Grant, says he is confident the GIPC would meet its 2018 target of $10 billion in foreign direct inflows. Now, out of the $5 billion targeted last year, the center mobilized $4.91 billion. He, however, raised concerns with the lack of adherence to regulations by some companies, leading to the loss of revenue to the country.
The $5 billion target for 2017. Were you able to achieve that?
Not to the entire figure, but largely achieved. We registered about 4.9 billion of FDI. Of new money that was registered. But I also contend that it may be likely that there's a lot more that we do not actually register and account for from maybe extra investments or additional investments that a lot of the investors bring in, existing investors who already have businesses here. So I'm sure some of the oil and gas companies, some of the manufacturing companies, the expansion capital, etc., bring in some more money. Some of it may be from retained profits, but some of them from real, reinvestments. And that's the challenge that we have in putting all that together and making sure we have accurate amount of FDI that comes in.
In the first quarter of last year, I recall you had FDIs of $3 billion just for the first quarter of 2017. What's the situation in 2018, 1 year on?
We are still putting the numbers together. Like I did say at the beginning, we are making sure that we have a number that accurately reflects what the situation is and just not picking the numbers of our books, because I know that a lot of these companies are reinvesting, some are expanding, and we need to know how much they are putting there. So we are working all that together, accurate figures.
And that's all for business this afternoon. Let's now turn our attention to health, because this month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we've been joined in the studio by Dr. Florence Dede from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Good afternoon to you, Doc.
Good afternoon.
So what sorts of awareness are you embarking upon this month?
Well, so for the month of October, we have a few programs lined up. We started today with the launch of the whole month's activities, and we just completed that. Tomorrow, we have an information day to update health workers on breast cancer. And then subsequently, we have a lot of screening that will be done in various hospitals. So apart from Kolebu, we have 23 partner hospitals and diagnostic centers working with us. And most of them will be offering free breast screening as well as discounted mammograms and ultrasounds. We'll be going to some markets to screen the market women. We hope to make use of the media, get opportunities to talk about what breast cancer is and what can be done about breast cancer. So these are some. And then social media, we have quite a vibrant social media presence, and some articles in the papers and stuff like that. So basically the whole purpose of the month is to raise awareness about breast cancer.
Right. So as a unit, what is your biggest challenge with breast cancer currently?
Okay, so I would say the biggest challenge is the late presentation. So we know that for breast cancer, when women are diagnosed early and treated effectively, we are able to cure breast cancer. But unfortunately, more than...
How early?
So there are like different stages. We have from stage like 1 to stage 4. So obviously, if you are caught in stage 1, it's a very early stage, and a cure at that time it's very possible. Whereas if you are caught in the late stages, stage 4, then the cure becomes very difficult at that point. So mostly for about more than 50-60% of our patients are seen and treated in the late stages. And so it causes our outcomes to be very poor. When we see a patient in stage 1 and we treat, when we take 5-year survival, it's more than 90%. If we see that same patient in stage 4 and we treat, the 5-year survival is just 15%. So that tells us that once we don't pick up the disease early and we treat, the outcomes are not so good.
And why is that so? Why aren't we able to pick up the disease early?
All right. So one of the problems is that people don't really know what breast cancer is about, or they attribute breast cancer to all sorts of other reasons. So, as Ghanaians, we are very religious or spiritual people. So somebody may notice a change, but they attribute it to somebody who touched their breast, a dream they had. And once they think that way, they don't come to hospital. They would rather go to a prayer camp or seek alternative treatment. The other problem is the types of treatments that are used for breast cancer. So we use chemotherapy, we use surgery, which may involve taking off the whole breast. It's not everybody who has to have the whole breast taken off, but that is unfortunately what most people know about, and women don't tend to like that. So even for some of them who do come early to hospital, once we tell them this is what we have to do, they disappear, go and try all sorts of other treatments and come back when it's rather late. So there are a lot of misconceptions around breast cancer that if we are able to demystify that and people can understand what breast cancer is, the fact that the treatment really works, we think we'll get people coming a bit earlier.
Right. Now, finally, before we go, what about the issue of cost? Because I do know that when it comes to cost, it's also a deterrent to people coming to the
Definitely. So cost definitely is an issue too, right, from making a diagnosis through to treatment. But then the National Health Insurance covers parts of the cost.
How significant is that cost?
Well, maybe not even 50%, but it does cover something. It covers chemotherapy, it covers part of surgery. It doesn't cover radiotherapy, it doesn't cover diagnostics, well, some diagnostics. So it doesn't cover too much, but at least it helps. I mean, we see that people who have a health insurance are easier able to go through the treatments rather than those who do not have at all. So definitely cost is an issue that needs to be looked at, because it deters some people from coming. But having said that, the alternative treatment and the prayers are also not free. We realize that most people who go to these places also have to pay something. So bottom line is, most patients, or some patients, not so much the cost, but the fact that they do not like the treatment and they don't really appreciate what the treatment is all about. So really it's a combination of factors.
Thank you very much. Dr. Florence Dede is with Kolebu Teaching Hospital. You're watching Midday Live on TV3. Let's take a break now. When we return, we have sports. Nostalgia filled the air as music legends Kojo Antwi and Daddy Lumba wowed patrons of the Vodafone African Legends Night with an impressive blend of great and irresistible high life classics. The concert, which also had acclaimed hitmakers, celebrated the top liners for entertaining, inspiring and impacting great experiences with their music.
For 7 years, the African Legends Night has celebrated the continent's great music icons. Oh yeah, patrons really had a great time jamming out to Kojo Antwi's iconic compositions. The music maestro was simply unstoppable, and fans couldn't resist taking to the dance floor. African dancehall star Samini was amazing on the night. Delivering a stellar performance, the My Own composer kept the charged crowd on their feet all night long. Samini seized the moment to eulogize musical mentors Bob Nestamali and prolific composer Nana Ampedu. Daddy Lumba took patrons back into time, whetting their appetite with all-time hit song Abin Waha. To mark his 54th birthday, Daddy Lumba was joined by former First Lady Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings and executives from Vodafone to cut a special birthday cake. With 33 albums to his credit, Daddy Lumba's nostalgic performance got patrons singing the encore chorus.
Well, before we take leave of you, let's do the headlines once again. NDC aspiring presidential candidate confirms secret meeting of 5 other candidates to stop former President Mahama from being elected to lead the party into 2020. Workers of La Palm Royal Beach Hotel in Accra up in arms against management for failing to pay SNET contributions. Government expected to announce producer price of cocoa for the 2018-2019 crop season. And volunteers begin burying victims of the Indonesia earthquake in mass graves, over 800 killed with 1,600 rendered homeless. And that's it for the news this afternoon. My name is Efua Tieku. Have a lovely day.